Hey, how goes it? Ken Bozak here to talk about Bitcoin and Bitcoin accessories. And today I'm here to talk about my favorite Bitcoin accessory, one I cannot live without, the Bitcoin accessory that makes it possible for me to stay all in on crypto and daily interact and shop online. I'm talking about BitRefill, and today I'm with Sergey, the CEO of BitRefill. How goes it, bro?
Hey man, happy to be here.
Hey, happy to have you back so soon again. Why don't you do me a favor though, for the audience that may not know who you are, let them know a little
Right,
bit about Sergey and how you got into crypto, and maybe segue into how BitRefill became to be.
right. So I have a background as an engineer and been doing a couple of startups in the past, some successful, some less. Um, got started going down the crypto rabbit hole in 2013, 14, the usual way that people get stuck. At first, the first version of Bitrefill was very sort of experimental. Like I'd read all these like trollish people about like, oh, if you do something with Bitcoin, you're gonna get hacked, you're gonna get scammed, and you're gonna be this and that. And I was like, yeah, that sounds cool. But let's try it in sort of it's always better to learn a lesson in a small scale, right? I figured, what can you do? You sell something. What can you sell? Something digital, right? Because I'm a lazy bastard who can't be
Right?
bothered to put stuff. Right. So I managed to. I had some connections in the mobile world, so I managed to get access to one API that got us access to basically do phone refills in a bunch of places. And I actually hacked together the first version of Bitrefill was like it was basically a $12 bootstrap theme that I bought from an Indian site, and this API for phone top ups and BitPay actually at the time, and what else? Yeah, and I was like learning about Node.js programming, so I was like building that as a proof of concept, and sort of it kind of took off. We started getting users from a bunch of places that are very distant from me. We had users in Bangladesh and South Africa and Russia and Nigeria and Bolivia and in the US
Yeah, I was gonna say
and
the
and
US, man.
yeah, let's not forget the US. But and it was like always like very funny that like we sell the exact same product in the US and in Bangladesh, but like to vastly different people. But like they have sort of different backgrounds, but they're all actually also similar in other ways.
So the
Yeah, but
most commonly sold, things on BitRefill are like the same no matter where you kind of seen.
well, yeah, I mean the phone refills are they're just phone refills, right?
Right.
It's a number on a mobile balance. The difference is in the amounts, right? An average in Bangladesh is probably less than $1, whereas in America, an average maybe $30, 40
Right.
something like a monthly bill. Um, but other than that, it's they relatively, I would say, similar. And it kind of took off. We got some initial traction with. And attention, and orders started coming in from these places, and we started reading about it. And like prepaid phones is in the West it's like this niche thing, but like globally there's 5 billion with a B people that have a prepaid phone. It's more people that have a prepaid phone than that have a toothbrush.
Well,
Like it's the most
especially
spread.
in crypto, actually having a prepaid phone is more secure than having a phone line that you
That too.
pay with a monthly bill, because you're less likely to get a third-party attack. Because I could
Right.
call Verizon and pretend to be you, but it's really
Yes.
freaking hard to get your phone out of your hand to know how to access your account, because you are your own 2FA. There's no third-party risk. So prepaid
Right.
phones are actually really popular in this industry.
Right. And then this is the difference. Like for a Western customer, these qualities are very important. Whereas in emerging markets, everybody just has a prepaid phone already, right?
Yeah.
So it's not so much. We don't even need to discuss the benefits of it there. But yeah, so like on that way, like this whole endeavor came about. I think the vision has always been, to make to make Bitcoin and cryptocurrency usable on a day-to-day basis for people. And so one of the key, I think, values that we always had and will have is, just enable as much stuff for as much people as possible, right? And the more we can get people to rely on the fact that they can live in the crypto world, the better it is, right?
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Lately, there's been a lot of these discussions between, is it a store of value, it's medium of change, blah, blah, blah. But like, look, it's both. It's right there. Like, it's everything Satoshi mentioned, they actually bring, like, it's both. And like, I had this rant once in a conversation with someone, and I think it's becoming a bit of a slogan, like what kind of a shit money is it we're building here if you can't actually buy stuff with it, right?
Yeah, that's exactly like most people want to just buy more fiat with their crypto, and they don't understand that if they actually use some crypto outside of trading, it would provide more utility to it, giving it more value that they could then trade on. But if you keep poking Bitcoin with a stick and just saying do something instead of actually picking your Bitcoin up and doing something with it, like going on BitRefill and buying Domino's or paying for your Tinder monthly premium subscription. Like, I wanted to talk a little bit about your partnerships, because I know that you have partnered with Dash and offer 10% discounts, which is really cool. And you just recently partnered with Tinder. So how does that work when you use company with somebody like that? Is it like directly with them? Is there a third party, like, merchant that you have to go through? How does that conversation kind of go? Like, how was it getting Tinder to accept, Bitcoin through BitRefill for monthly subscriptions?
So I may have to let you down quite a bit, but like, the Tinder isn't like a direct partnership. If you go to the site, it's basically sort of we have the way you pay for Tinder, like anyway, is through the iTunes and the Google Play.
Yeah, exactly. And they take 30%. Google and iTunes. I read a little article on how much they take from Tinder.
But part of their deal is also that you can't be in the App Store unless you pay them this 30%. So what we have is simply that we sell iTunes and Google Play cards all over the world, and we made this page to show that, to get people, because you talk to someone like, you can buy iTunes cards, but it's this abstract thing, right? And so by taking one of these more popular apps in the App Store and say, look, you can buy Tinder. Plus it was Valentine's, and we did some stuff about like buying flowers and dinners and stuff. But I was like, you know what? This is crypto. There's a bunch of dudes out there. Many of them don't have a girlfriend. Let's get them a Tinder account, right? Let's be constructive here, and sort of work on and we had this whole pickup line contest as well. That was quite fun.
Well, I did want to touch on, how you didn't actually need Tinder's permission to do this. And I did want to touch on a little bit about how you were able to do this through that third party means. And that makes it possible for, a roadmap that could extend to anything. I mean, the first thing that came to mind when I saw the Tinder was, I really hope they get Uber Eats or DoorDash, because then you could get your date, on Tinder, and you could order food from.
But we have Uber Eats in the US. You can buy a regular Uber card on BitRefill, and you can redeem it for Uber Eats.
Oh, you're right. You know what? I didn't even think of that. I've been using it for Uber to get my 10%.
We have an internal ticket to just like clone it. Because in the UK, it's two different tickets, but in the US, it's different.
It's the same ticket. I didn't know that. So personally, I use BitRefill, and I didn't realize that I could use the same ticket that I use to get my rides, I could use to get my food. So now I know. See, the more I learn, man. There
we go.
That's awesome, dude. So guys, check it out. If you wanted to do Uber Eats or pay for your Tinder, or pay your monthly top up on your phone bill, you can use your cryptocurrencies and do that on bitrefill.com. What kind of cryptos are you accepting right now? Is there anything besides like Bitcoin?
Well, yeah. So we have Bitcoin, we have Dash, obviously. We have we have Dogecoin, we have Litecoin, and Ethereum.
So guys, you can go out there and find your one true Doge. You can pay for your Tinder in Doge.
Yeah, it seems like the Tinder thing has gone around pretty well, especially in the Doge community.
See, I
which is
knew it.
like yeah, I have a like Dogecoin will always have a special place in my heart, I think.
Same, same,
Yeah,
and probably in many in the crypto industry. I think that's I ironically said it, but nice to know that it's actually one of the most used coins for Tinder. Good going, guys. I hope you find your one true Doge and hodl them forever. So, what's the roadmap like
yeah,
for Bit Refill? You know, I've seen that you recently, like you said, with the iTunes card, you're able to integrate things like Tinder, and you've mentioned like the Uber coupon
right.
actually works for Uber Eats. So now we know, guys. So, what are some of the things in the roadmap that you're looking at, or partnerships that you're looking to make throughout 2019 moving forward?
Right. Right. So on when it comes to like what we call our supply side, like things that you can get on Bitrefill, we by now we have a whole biz team that works on getting partnerships, and we usually go through like different types of third party companies that lets us get a broad access to
Yep.
things, right? So we get a lot of different products, and now we go country by country a lot. So we actually now we just added a bunch of the new cards for the US and UK. We're gonna have a big launch for Eastern Europe soon. We're gonna have a big thing in Russia, one in the Ukraine that I'm looking forward to. With similar things like what we have in the US, you can buy stuff mostly for online.
Yeah, I see
So there's
Venezuela.
like constantly ongoing work, on the supply side. We have Venezuela. Venezuela is a bit of a special case, as we know.
Yeah, no,
But
exactly.
it's
They're really embracing crypto over there.
yeah, they are, and it's been interesting to watch what's going on there and what the Dash people are doing there and so on. Yeah, it's yeah, but it's just, sort of it's sometimes difficult to sift through. There's so many different messaging going around, and everybody's trying to promote their thing, and we've kind of like haven't really been doing that too much because I don't know. Yeah, like my feeling about Venezuela is that the broader crypto community is like we kind of have an obligation to help them out, right?
Well, you're
They're
definitely helping us out, and for guys in the chat, I can see all the comments there, and check it out. Look, swipe right for Satoshi. I agree 100%, but there's so much more that Bit Refill does than just Uber Eats, Tinder, and paying your subscription based phone bill. They have categories and catalogs for traveling, gaming, restaurants. There's all kinds of like different categories that you can go and interact with and do your everyday, like what you've done with Bit Refill has made it possible to do everyday shopping that you would do on a regular basis with crypto
right.
through an app, basically with getting like coupon gift card codes and redeemable things like that, but you're also incentivized by passing on a discount. Could we talk a little bit about like the 10% off when you check out with Dash and stuff like that, and why those incentives are important?
Sure. So the Dash discount was, well, simply it was sort of part of the Dash partnership. Like Dash is one of those coins that has a clear company that is like pretty open about it. That there is a Dash company, there is the biz development department, the marketing department, and so on. They're doing it. They're doing their thing their way, right? And I think that at this point, like in this broad world, all experimentation is good.
Yep.
And you have to try different ways and see what sticks and what flies, and we do the same. And so Dash runs like a company, and they did a partnership with us where we accept the Dash currency, and they basically they sponsored it. And so this is how we got the discount. Like we negotiated a deal for our customers.
And I use that deal to actually on ramp newbies. So like when I use Bit Refill and Dash, and I get my 10% off from my Uber code, I get in the Uber and I immediately tell the driver, you're getting a 10% tip because it hurts me none. I break even. Like, I got you. And they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, look, tell every person that gets in your car. Well, no, because like I'm like tell everybody that gets in the car that you know, hey, I can help you save 10% when you get Uber next time.
Right.
Download Bit Refill, learn how to use Dash, and I can name 5 locations around my apartment complex within 1 to 3 miles that sells Dash at a Bitcoin ATM machine. So they're starting to just become more popular, you know, these cryptocurrencies. They're not scarce. They're not hard to come by anymore. Even 7-Eleven down the street has a Bitcoin ATM machine that sells Bitcoin, Dash, Ethereum, Litecoin, you know, right at 7-Eleven. So I'm telling the Uber drivers, just tell everybody, you know, how to save money. And I really think that that's a big turn on even to people that aren't really interested as an investment vehicle, but actually using it as a means of currency that just gets them more for spending less. So when you tell people when you can do your everyday shopping using this currency and save 10%, it takes away that whole volatile trader, you know, FOMO, FUD, bull run, bear mark. They don't need to know any about that. Just go to the ATM, buy your Dash, use Bit Refill, get 10% off when you take Uber or whatever. Like, and that's a really awesome, I think, incentive that Dash has been able to like push on to, you know, with Bit Refill and their customers, because it does incentivize people to start spending it and using it. And I want to see more people actually doing that.
Well, yeah, we all want that. Like, so yeah, it's been interesting working with the Dash people, and yeah, I think from an intellectual curiosity level, their Venezuela efforts have been very interesting to watch. They launched this cryptomobile hardware device that it comes with a Dash wallet and a bit refill and so on.
Yeah, the
So you can
Crippy, Chirpy or Crippy, something like that.
Crip. It's called KRIP.
Crip. Yeah, I met them in Vegas at Money 2020. I got to talk to their CEO. They have very big visions for that device in Venezuela, and they're not just thinking locally. They have a global expansion idea as well. I don't know if I can touch on, but like I see the potential behind like the Dash, the proposal systems that they have, and the marketing that they're doing, and I really like what they're up to as far as helping the mainstream, especially in Venezuela. I mean, the Petro crypto billboard, and then right down the street, Dash billboard. You know, Dash wasn't letting, you know, Venezuelans be taken advantage of by a dictator, you know, in a shitcoin. I thought that was really cool. I wanted to talk a little bit about how you actually use your product yourself. You know, do you use your own product? Do you shop with it? Do you spend crypto? I'm just curious, like, what's one of the most common things you spend your crypto on Bit Refill?
Right. So I live in Sweden, and we actually for the longest time didn't have any products in Sweden.
Oh, really? That
But
must suck.
yeah, it was a sort of a little bit sort of a combination of external circumstances, but now we do, and you know, I buy stuff online. You know, when I book travel, I do it. I get a hotel's gift card, and we have this flight gift card to buy plane tickets on it. For e-commerce, we have we don't have Amazon in Sweden, but we have something called Zalando, which is I think German something e-commerce chain. So like we have stuff like that that I use myself.
I think
Other than that, I mean, you know, if there is an opportunity, but like these days, it's sort of been on the like in the sort of physical world, it's been on you know, a little bit on a retreat. Yeah, from what I've seen at least. But I'm also seeing that this whole thing is picking up steam again, like around now. Like
well,
there was this.
Crypto's burdened by its volatility in both ways. If we're in a bull run, nobody wants to spend it. We're in a bear market, nobody wants to spend it. It's so odd of a currency.
You know, we've been growing every month all through 2018. So it's not fair to say that people don't want to spend it. But I mean, you're right that people, when the price is high, people are more eager to spend and spend more. Most importantly, but
I've been all in all year.
Spending, right? Especially, I mean, look, like the way we see things here, and we've done a lot of digging into you know, the personality and the user profiles and so on, and what clearly comes out is that the people that are spenders, first of all, it's not going to be the entirety of not someone who just bought their first bitcoins on Coinbase last week as an investment. He's not going to be going out buying a gift card the first thing he does with it, right? Well, other than maybe to test it out. But the people that are interesting are the people that have coins to spend. And so people who have coins to spend is people who have some type of earnings in it. And the earnings can be different. It can be regular, salary or consulting fees, and it could be like media producers like yourselves that are collecting tips, and people doing micro tasks, playing different games and gambling and trading. There's a lot of stuff, and then there is also, of course, people who just bought the coins a long time ago, and now they're just crypto rich, right? So like we're always looking for that, like where is this transactional ecosystem happening? How can we help promote it? How can we make sure that the big chunk of that spins around us? And meanwhile, like what we do, I guess, compared to many other companies that they use more of the BitPay model, is that we start from the customer, right? And from the perspective of how can we help them, to live on crypto, right?
That's a perfect segue. How can we help the mainstream, the people that may not look at crypto as an investment, understand the use case behind actually spending it and using it as an online currency rather than a Visa? Like even if I'm not interested in the 10% of using Dash, the incentive to use Bitcoin on BitRefill totally outweighs any incentive to use your Visa anywhere, because you're exposing your card information. And as we've seen from Home Depot and Target to Equifax in the US, everybody has been attacked and hacked to where my credit card information is probably out there for $5 on the deep web. So like I don't want to use my Visa to buy Domino's pizza ever, because Domino's app gets hacked, there goes my Visa information and my address and everything else. So I'd rather spend the crypto for that reason. Like, so I'm just wondering, like, what do you think it is that's holding this whole, basically it's totally incentivized if they understood the incentives, but how do we get the mainstream on-ramped? What's holding them back from using BitRefill as a means to shop online and spend crypto, as opposed to look at crypto as an investment vehicle?
Right. So I think there is already spiraling a transactional ecosystem. It's just that it kind of got dwarfed by this whole speculative mania that happened last year. But meanwhile, so like for example, like that our numbers haven't gone down during the bear market.
That's awesome.
We're growing every month all through 2018. We've been growing, and I think actually, like, this is my contrarian view, is that I think that merchant adoption is sort of, for now, and obviously I'm speaking my own book, but like for now we got that covered pretty good, and especially like in the bigger countries in the US and in the UK and some other European countries, you can live pretty good on cryptocurrency just through BitRefill. But what we need is to help stimulate the circular economy. I mean, you need to stimulate people to actually have earnings in crypto. And I actually think that it's one of those things that, like, that's probably how it's going to take off. Is that someone, and it's probably going to be some ridiculous app for teenage girls that does it. Like that's what I'm watching for. It's like, is there something that the teenage girls are doing that's entirely unreasonable to the rest of us, but that they are doing in millions, and where there is a monetization scheme?
I think you're right, man. Instagram, the Steam It has a version of Instagram called Steep Shot. And if these kids got a hold of it, like they got a hold of Instagram and they learned that they could earn crypto based on how many engagements their photos get on the blockchain, Oh my goodness. Then they have crypto. What are they going to do with it? I have all this crypto. How do I spend it? And that's sort of how I fell
Well,
into
that's
Bit
not actually.
Refill.
They already know that you know, like it's already established that crypto is money. Like they know, like that's already in place. And you have to remember that young people are even in the West, young people are, you know, financially excluded. I don't know like what the average age is when somebody gets their first credit card and bank accounts and so on. But like, you know, young people don't really have money per se, but they have time and they have a willingness to do stuff. And yeah, I'm looking at there's this social app called TikTok. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
I've just
It's
seen
like
it.
similar to what Vine was. You know, people make these funny meme videos. They record, and it's a lot of like you know, middle to high school kids
Yeah, I think I'm
that are.
finally too old for an app. I checked it out and
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah,
eh.
yeah. So I think you're maybe in that age where like apps like that like enrage you, like in their unreasonableness. Whereas for me, I'm like, oh, the kids, they have a sense of art. You know, they're making their own culture. And like in that app, you have kids that have, you know, 5 million followers. You know, just from making videos with their school buddies. And at some point, they're going to figure out, somebody is going to crack the code. Maybe us, maybe someone else is going to figure out how to help these kids monetize their huge followings.
Yeah,
And
no, for
clearly these
sure.
kids are going to want to monetize it directly and not sort of, you know, not set up a corporation for my, you know, Timmy 17 dance video channel, right?
Well, this
Just
is
put it
what
like same like Bitcoiners do. Just put up an address somewhere and
exactly.
collect tips, or use one of these services that are coming up right now.
Well, the thing with
Uh,
that is YouTube makes it damn near impossible too for like these kids that want to do streaming and create content. For you to even be able to get ad revenue, you have to have 10,000 subscribers. And then if you
right.
want to get tips, like super chat tips, YouTube steals 30% and you need a bank account. So if you're a 12-year-old kid that may not be able to, what if you're in like, you know, a position where you don't have the ability to get parents' permission or whatever to create content? Maybe you're in an orphanage or a group home or whatever. Like there's so many different reasons that people can be disenfranchised, and it just this is so
They don't even
empowering.
have to be disenfranchised, right? They could just be opportunistic.
It's true too,
Like
exactly.
there's just you know, there's billions and billions of people that are standing by ready to earn money online. And like you know, there's so many different niches. And I mean, look, like if you know, even something like PayPal is available in like 80 something countries,
Yeah,
but
but their
there's
fees
200
are
countries.
ridiculous
Right.
too.
But there's also 200, like there's 100 more countries where it's
And
not available,
PayPal
right?
requires KYC. So actually, if you're a young kid, you can't even use PayPal because you have to go through
Right.
mandatory KYC now.
And so on and so on and so on.
Yep,
So
yeah, so
I
many
really think that
problems.
it's, yeah, someone's commenting here about TikTok, and my 12-year-old got Doge for Christmas. Excellent.
I did
Wow.
want to bring up what 3G mentioned in the
Oh,
comments
oh,
about
oh.
using Lightning Network. Is that something that BitRefill has thought about incorporating? Is the Lightning Network and Lightning channels for these gift cards, and or is
Of
that like
course.
okay, cool, cool, cool.
Of course, dude. We're probably, or as far as I know, we're the biggest merchant on the Lightning Network. Yeah, definitely out of the ones that sell sort of real world things and not like little digital testing out hundreds
What
of
are your
Satoshi
thoughts on
coins.
non-fungible tokens? Like maybe adding a way for me to buy on BitRefill, crypto kitties, or things that are tokenized on blockchains like Wax.io. I can buy a private key that actually will let me redeem a pair of Yeezy shoes. So I could hold
Right.
this private key in my wallet and send it to their exchange and get shoes delivered to my house. So like I was just curious, like what are your thoughts on the digital
So
marketplaces moving forward, like
right.
non-fungibles?
So so I don't know about Wax in particular, but like generally, we keep track of everything that's going on, right? Because everybody's like trying to figure out what is this thing for, right? And where is the traction going to happen? So we keep a good eye on mostly it's in the Ethereum ecosystem, the different tokens and so on, and the non-fungibles, and then there's the ERC20 ones. And you know, we haven't seen anyone that takes off in a big way And when I say that it take off in a big way, I mean sort of transactions per day.
Yes.
Right. And so we keep a close eye. And I mean, if it ends up that people are buying CryptoKitties en masse, or shoes at wax, or something else, well, then we'll be there, of course. But CryptoKitties is like one of those things that is entirely unreasonable, right? So it might as well be super successful. But this far we haven't really seen that traction yet. And so we're a small company, so we try to make sure that like we are where there is sort of traction and transactional activity. We even have it's also like a joke that became a real thing, but like we have this Dogecoin rule, which is like there's all these coin founders that reach out and say, hey, I have this, and some of them are like on the pretty high up on the coin market cap, and we have this and that coin. Hey, do you want to accept it on vIRL? Maybe we'll even pay you for it. And like from our perspective, we do the is it bigger than Dogecoin in terms of transactions per day?
Is
right?
anything though? Come on, Doge is like
no. So Dogecoin, so Dash and Litecoin and Dogecoin are like ballpark.
Yeah, exactly.
Size.
They're pretty high up there.
But Bitcoin is a lot bigger than Dogecoin, right? So
what I meant was how many altcoins have more transactions, per volume than Doge. I mean, Doge kind of is a high standard, but I love the standard. What are your thoughts on things like swaps, using like Changely or Shapeshift, stuff like that? So you don't actually have to accept the cryptocurrency; they can just swap it like an atomic swap.
We did that in the past. It wasn't a good user experience.
A lot of fees, right? That's the problem.
Well, not just no. Actually, like my view on this. So it's interesting that you're like excited about the discounts. My experience is that people are motivated more often with other things than just the fees. But the main problem with those is that it's sort of something happens away from us, and we don't really get any info about it, and so there is a payment with another coin that we don't know anything about, and then there's a bug in Shapeshift, and the payment doesn't go out, or something is wrong, and the customer is angry, but we didn't get any money, and we don't know if they paid, and then we have to do tickets and this and that. And
so you run a node for each coin you accept?
Yes, for the 5 that we do, we have our own
respect.
We run full nodes, and we run we also do have a bunch of other things on top that we use.
I had a question in the comments. Is it possible to connect to a Lightning address to vIRL currently?
Yes. So so we like I said, we used to have the biggest node, but now there's a couple of people that have sort of.
One of the audience members just wanted to know if there was any real quick way you could let them know, guys, you can Google these things. I got the CEO on the phone. This isn't Google.
To oneml.com, and you will have the info about our Lightning node. It's still one of the biggest and one of the most well connected. If you want to connect to us directly, we've gotten to the point where we only accept incoming connections that are like of the highest size,
right?
Because still, when you have a lot of channels, it sort of adds a bunch of load and so on. And in the beginning, we had a lot of really small channels, and now we're like, someone else can do those channels.
But, that's something a lot of people don't know about Lightning networks, is that a lot of channels can stretch the bandwidth. And I mean, if you could elaborate a little bit on that, that would be amazing.
Yeah, sure. I mean, and we actually even built a utility for. So I was talking about creating this circular economy, right? So one of the drawbacks of Lightning compared to like regular on-chain transactions is that if you have an empty wallet with Lightning, with Bitcoin or with Dash or Doge or what have you, you have an empty wallet. You generate an address, you send it to your buddy. Buddy sends you $5. You send the $5 back, and you're amazed, and it worked, right? That's the first experience. But with Lightning, it doesn't work like that, because you need to have a channel. But not only that, you need to have a channel that has capacity in your direction. So you need to have a channel that is empty or part empty in order to receive. And so we created a tool that we called Thor, which Thor, is the Nordic god that gives you lightning, basically, with a hammer and whatnot. it lets you open channels from Bitrefill. And it's a paid utility. It's paid simply because we put the coins in the channel, right? And so if it's some person that has a mobile Lightning wallet that they're going to be offline with, then our money is locked there for a long while. And
Exactly.
we're a small company. We don't have infinite resources.
So you know what? This is actually
put a fee on it.
This is something that mainstream companies deal with too. And I just wanted to touch on, like, when we see these issues with Lightning, you can kind of go to the legacy industries and find the same issues with things like gift cards, where businesses have Lightning channels with gift cards, where I have a Walmart gift card, and in their Lightning channel, Walmart has a pot of funds that they can send to any Walmart I spend that gift card at, which is basically the same as a Lightning channel, except if I had a $10,000 gift card, Walmart can't spend that $10,000 until I close that channel. So there's a lot of money they have to sit in that network just in case I move the funds around. So this is a really traditional issue that we're going to focus on in crypto, but I believe that it wasn't able to be solved until we looked at blockchain. And I think that the many different ways to use Lightning Network, there's like 3 different: optional, mandatory, cheapest, fastest, and you can split fees through Lightning channels too. And there's going to be so many ways, but at least we have the opportunity to solve the problems that the legacy system has had forever. And I actually spoke at a conference about crypto, or about gift cards and how they have this issue, and I was talking about Lightning channels, and somebody mentioned the same issue you were speaking about, having to keep the funds in the channels for the connected wallets, and the cost effective of the bandwidth there. And I was just like, but at least it's solvable now. It's something that we will eventually be able to solve. And I think side chains like Lightning and atomic swaps and all these things are going to be really important things before we see mainstream adoption, because we're just going to have same problems, different tech, until we solve the problems.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. Like, from my perspective, is we sort of, like, we have the technology that we need. It's obviously not well-rounded enough yet.
No.
Right. There's a lot of little bugs and issues, and the UX isn't great and so on, but it's there. I mean, if you remember, you were around when there was this whole transaction fees are high and this and that. Like, we're nowhere near that, right? And it's entirely gone, and it's gone, and it's been over. It's a problem that's been overkilled, right? I mean, the big block coins solved it in their way, and the Lightning solves it, and sidechain solves it. There's a lot of things that solve it, using off-chain transactions just by like the boring old way.
I seen an off-chain transaction over FM radio the other day.
Yeah, I saw that.
My mind was blown, dude. I was like, I was sitting here like one of the things I always thought was interesting was people say like, oh, Bitcoin censorship resistant. And I'm like, yeah, tell that to your internet service provider. And I bet they laugh in your face when they decide to ban it. Like, they're going to censor it right from the internet. But now that we can do these offline, off-chain transactions, even using FM, like, imagine the new hardware wallets that are going to come out where we're going to basically look like, old school truckers with FM hardware wallets, because we don't need to use the internet. We can use,
right.
daisy chain. Basically, I see a lot of this going to be like daisy chain technology moving forward. A lot of these companies already have products out there where you could like leave them in the woods and you can daisy chain the internet in the middle of the forest, or an intranet in the middle of the forest. It's really cool.
Right. Yeah. I mean, a Bitcoin transaction is just information, right? It's what is it? 200 bytes. It's not even that much. Like, you could tell someone, like, if you really have to, you could probably tell someone over the phone, or somebody will figure out a way to do this, like a Bitcoin address. Sorry, your seed is a poem of 12 words or 24 words, right? Someone could make a poem that is a Bitcoin transaction as well, and you could sing.
Damn. I'm definitely going to do this now. I'm going to do it. I'm going to make a Bitcoin haiku. I'm going to open a Bitcoin wallet, put in like 10, 20 bucks. I'll take the 12 words and I'll make a haiku, and it's up to you guys to figure out the 12-word combo. That's a pretty interesting idea.
Sing it out there. You can embed it into art, or into a text, or into books, and there's all kinds of stuff you can do. Like, I mean, part of the thing with Bitcoin is that information is it's hard to stop, right? And so yeah, in the end, it will always find a way to get information out and to get information in. Like we have things like Blockstream satellite that will shoot you the latest.
Yeah, $150 if you want to run your own node from your ceiling.
But do they send the whole box or just the hash?
I think it's just a hash. I don't know. I think you can choose depending on which kit you get. I don't know exactly. And I know Casa has their second version of their full node coming out too, which makes plug and play. You plug in your node, connect it to the internet. You're now contributing to the Bitcoin economy and ecosystem. Yeah, I wanted to. I was going to say, like, I wanted to talk a little bit about the contributions to the networks and stuff. Like running your own node and having your own company and bridging the gap between crypto and merchant. You know, it's just really, man, awesome. Like, what do you see though as this goes more mainstream? What does Bit Refill kind of look like when it hits mainstream adoption? You know, like, do you visualize the end result of Bit Refill? Like, kind of what does that look like when everybody's using this?
Sure. Well, I mean, the simple version is that, I mean, look, remember when Amazon was this website where you could buy books through a web browser?
That's exactly how I see Bit Refill. That is it. Exactly.
And so Bit Refill is something like that. And in the end game, Bit Refill is going to be, like, it's going to be, and in the crypto world, remember that wallets you change easily, right? But Bit Refill is the part of the wallet that lets you, you know, buy whatever you want, you know, and wallets like already they, you know, say that it has Bit Refill inside, right? And probably it's going to be, we're going to be there, like wherever it is, you know, and if the wallet is that takes off is a tool for kids to collect tips. You know, make sure that we're there. I mean, this is like the foreseeable future. Then there's obviously the questions of, like, you know, hyper Bitcoinization reality and what happens there. And you know, I think like these a little bit more sci-fi ideas it's interesting to think about them, but there's going to be so much like sort of like chaos and confusion on the way that I think it can be a little bit hard to predict all the different details. The important things that I see from my perspective is sort of operate from core principles, you know, do good things. I think that trust is going to be, as it already is, super important in today's crypto world. It's going to be equally important in that world, right? So the fact that that people trust us. The fact that people trust us is going to be a huge thing. Yep. Similar to exactly like Amazon. Like when you buy something on Amazon, most cases it's actually some other company that ships the thing. Right?
That's how Toys R Us lost their business. Right.
But you buy from Amazon. It says Amazon on the receipt. You can trust Amazon that they're legit and so on. And so in a similar way, I think that Bit Refill is going to be sort of the center of the transactional ecosystem. And then, like right now, what we're doing in the Lightning world is that we're kind of already positioning ourselves and making sure that as much of it as we can grab spins around us. And what's cool about, like, what I like about the crypto world of today is that, like, making something useful is such an effective tool for marketing, you know, and it's such a win for everybody. You know, you make a tool and it becomes like, so you probably saw this lightning torch that's been going around.
Yes.
On Twitter for the past week or two, and the lightning torch, you know, when people are sending the torch to each other, they need to have an incoming channel, right? And most people today don't yet have one, and so, like, we have this authority utility for opening channels, which means that if someone needs to receive the torch, they get one of these channels, and so it sort of puts us right sort of in the middle, that it spins. This whole thing spins around us, and I mean, and that's just like a really small, like, proof of concept thingy that we built that we didn't even think would take off as much as it did. And there's, like, you know, there's a bunch more like that as well.
Absolutely.
Things in the pipeline. Like it's so easy in today's crypto world is, just connect something to something, and enable someone to do something, and you spend a week or two building a thing, and it just takes off, and people, uh, if it's useful, people will talk about it, and it sort of creates uh, this vibe around it.
I actually wanted to bring up because a lot of companies now that have been around as long as BitRefill, they're Bitcoin Kyle, BTC Kyle brings up this question as well. Like, Shapeshift, for example, has decided to STO, and even Monarch, tokens doing an STO, the wallet that I work with. I'm wondering, is this something that BitRefill has considered to be a potential to get the end users more involved in the company through an STO? Or have you thought about the ideology of actually using a utility token on the platform, kind of gamifying your customer base?
Sure. Well, gamifying the customer base we can do in a lot of different ways, and we actually, like, it's also a couple of years ago, we actually drew up a project but this was like before the whole ICO mania. But we drew up a project for our own coin, sort of, and we had the vision of like a mobile money for the world. Actually, there's a couple of people that are doing that right now.
I think
But
Bitcoin's
in the
working
end,
on something like that.
right, exactly, and in the end, that's also like. So we had a more elaborate process, but in the end, it came down to that like we thought that we were going to get the carriers on board to promote us, and the carriers were like, yeah, but then we have to have this and this and this and this and this and this rule, and also that and that and that, and then you can't promote, and then at the end of the day, it was like, yeah, okay, or we just and we're a small company, we don't have the muscle to build a global brand, at least not right now. So I guess we just we just stick to Bitcoin, and so like one should never say never, right? Because otherwise, who knows who digs up something that I said in a different world and so on. But I think today, to my knowledge, and probably someone's gonna tweet angrily at me, but I still don't know of any successful project that started or did funding in that way, and I didn't want to be the one to experiment. Like we have access to capital, we have some investors, and we're able to raise money, the good old fashioned way, where you get we get equity and the promise of future returns and all of that, and so that's what we're sticking to, the good old fashioned way. But who knows? Like this world changes so fast. Maybe a couple of years from now, it will be very established that security token offerings is going to be the thing. Personally, I don't think so, but because like I've sort of seen how these things play out. Like we see how sort of the network effect sucks projects in, and it's. And I've even like seen on like I told you, like with our own plans and so on, and how in the end it's like, yeah, we just make ourselves interoperable with this Bitcoin thing.
Yeah.
But who knows? And I think like we of all companies probably would have a useful useful token, but yeah, there's too much regulatory risk, and like I don't know. Yeah,
that's the real issue that I wanted to kind of bring up, and I knew that was going to happen, is that you're more concerned about the regulations than much, I bet, right? Like there's so much uncertainty and unclarity in the air about companies that decide to do STOs and what that's going to look like in 5 years for them, what they are responsible for their investors for or not. Responsible for who's in possession of those private keys once they're released, and what exchanges are trading them, even if they're decentralized exchanges. Now they can't stop these stocks that are tokenized from going to people's hands that are not KYC'd, or accredited investors. It is really up in the air. But I think that it takes a lot to break a mold, and I'm not trying to incentivize you or BitRefill or anybody to go against regulatory grain, but I think it's the companies that are going to take those risks that are going to take the first through the door bullets, you know, and pave the way. Because like you're right, we don't know what it looks like, and it's not safe for anybody, you, your business, your investors, or anybody involved to start attempting these, you know, STOs. But I think that the experiments are necessary, the failures are necessary to beget successes.
So I've kind of generally, like, with this whole, like, I think I'm getting to some point of in my thinking about this whole space ending up in a sort of post scam mentality.
Oh, ICOs are dead, and STOs will provide investors the same security that they would get through traditional trading.
But like, my point is that, like, you know, all of this experimentation in the end is just sort of bringing about the inevitable faster.
That's
right?
what I do.
Whatever.
That's what I'm here for. I'm the beta tester for everybody, so that, you know, hopefully the bugs get worked out.
Yeah. So, you know, good luck for people who want to try. And I mean, I've seen serious companies discuss and do regulatory checks and so on, but it's also that, like we said, like, if you look at the companies that did ICO Mania, like the ones that did it best are probably the ones that, you know, just took the money, cashed out, and went away, changed their identity and so on. And like, you know, that's not us. Like, we're building a thing to push this movement forward, and you know, if and build a company that is massively successful the old-fashioned way. You know, it's working fine. Like, we don't need that. Like,
no, I agree, man. I actually wanted to tell you a little bit of how I stumbled into vIRL and how I found out about your company.
Yeah, please.
So I kind of was like, how I got into crypto is a little weird. Most of my followers know this, but like, I tried to invest in Snapchat's IPO. So I saved up money and I wanted to invest, and they were like, "Are you accredited?" And I was like, "What's that even mean? I just want to give you money." And they were like, "You're not allowed to give us money." So I was like, well, okay, I saved up money. Here it is. And they said I'm not good enough. I watched Snapchat IPO take off, and I was left in the dust, just sitting there being upset. So I actually was trying to invest in anything that would let me. So I almost went into precious metals, and a friend of mine said, "No, check out this Bitcoin thing and look at this Ethereum ICO. There's no KYC, just invest in it." So I looked into what, you know, all this was, and I didn't invest in the ICO, but I did grab Ethereum at like $4 because it was a no-brainer after I started to understand it. But how I found vIRL was exactly what you were saying earlier, where it comes from people that are earning it, that have it, that actually have a need to spend it now. Well, I use Bitwage. So my regular day job had nothing to do with crypto. But every week, every 7 days, I was getting paid out in crypto. At first, I was getting paid in Bitcoin. And then I switched to Dash because it was a little bit more private from my, you know, my transactions. You know, I didn't want everybody to see my checking account history every time I sent Bitcoin. You know, if I sent Bitcoin from that wallet, it would basically be like me saying, "Here's my checking account information every time I send you $1." So I actually started earning Dash every week through Bitwage and Uphold. And then I had crypto, and all the fees that were like for selling it for fiat on Coinbase would like take away any interest I made. There's like 7% fee on selling it. I'm just like, I made 7% this week. Why would I lose 7% trying to spend
dox
it?
yourself. So even worse than with credit cards.
Yeah, so there's no doxing required when I use vIRL. So when I actually found out I could spend Bitcoin and Dash and everything through vIRL and use it to, like, you know, buy Domino's pizza, it was like a no-brainer for me as a way to spend crypto on like games, traveling, you know, restaurants and food, my T-Mobile monthly bill or whatever. Like, I don't know, it just started to click really quick because I was earning it, I was holding it, and I started spending it. So it was just really interesting. And one of the first things I ever did to kind of talk about vIRL was I made a tweet and I said, "Hey, I can buy pizza for anybody." And there was a cam girl that actually said, "Hey, if you send me the pizza, I'll send you some nudes." I was like, "Get the fuck out of here." Really? So
no way.
Yeah, so I got the vIRL coupon code for a large pizza, and I spent Dash, so I got 10% off, and I had the coupon code. I sent her the coupon code in her DM, and I just said download the Domino's app, and you give them the coupon code, and you automatically got the money as in your account. And she ordered the pizza, and I got my nudes all from spending crypto through Domino's Pizza. So there's so many
Nice.
different ways to use this that I just, hey guys, if you're watching, go try to buy some porn with pizza. That's your mission today.
I thought you were gonna say, guys, if you're watching, send nudes.
No, don't send nudes. Send pizza, and then I'll send you.
Don't you have
nudes.
any girls watching?
Actually, I looked at my YouTube audience, and it is 100% male. 100%.
Okay.
I've never seen a statistic on my YouTube at 100%, but my audience is 100% male. So their job is to go out there and offer some cam girls some Domino's pizza through bit refill coupon codes and get yourself some, because like there's a lot of actual use behind that, to the point where Domino's actually has like a campaign where they don't want to be used for porn, like they'll close people's accounts, and so does PayPal and stuff like that. So I just think it's a really interesting way to kind of on-ramp an entire industry that has hardships that this currency can overcome. And when you look at the adult entertainment industry and the hardships that are being imposed on them through PayPal and places like, yes, Domino's even doesn't accept their business, it becomes real twisted to think that just because you have a job in this industry, you're not allowed to be a customer of these companies like PayPal or Domino's. And we can show these people that there are ways around these institutional censorship, roadblocks, and it is powered by cryptocurrencies.
Right. That is an excellent story. Yeah, we have some it's getting to be a good collection of crypto stories. Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
I heard of somebody on Facebook. They posted a status saying that they needed help with their phone. They said, it's like one of those things like, I don't know, should I start a GoFundMe for $50? Like, I'm having a hard time. And I saw somebody say something like, why? They were like, oh, I need to pay my phone. And they were, talking. I saw all the comments, and it was people that were not even in crypto. This was, again, on Facebook. Not so crypto, right? And basically, they were just nothing but problem after problem trying to solve a way to help somebody pay their phone bill from, different people. I was like, look, crypto. You don't need PayPal that's going to take $5 for every, $10 you want to send. It's not like that. And you don't have to wait settlement periods of 3 to 5 days. Like, we can, look, go to, X, Y, and Z exchange. You can even go to Monarch, the wallet Monarch, buy Bitcoin, and then you can send it to Bit Refill, and you can get the coupon to help somebody pay their phone anywhere in the world. So this is like a really interesting way to decentralize a sort of peer-to-peer charity as well. Like, hey, I'm hungry. Well, here's a Domino's Pizza gift card. And, my phone bill, I can't pay it. Well, here goes a top-up for your T-Mobile. So I think that even Bit Refill doesn't understand the power that it has when it's decentralizing the peer-to-peer charity that it is actually providing.
Oh, no, we do. We actually understand that very well. Like, I mean, one of my stories is maybe less colorful than yours, but we're in South Africa a couple of years ago, and I was in a township, and they have these guys that were selling these little paintings. Let me see if I find it somewhere. It's somewhere here in the office, but now, of course, I'm not finding it. Anyways, there were these guys that were selling these little paintings. They were pictures of the township, like in the sunset, and they were made on a wooden board with like materials of like soda cans and stuff. And on these paintings, they always had in the forefront these airtime shops, right? The stores where you can like little booths where you can top up your phone in South Africa.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And so it so happened that I wanted to get one of these, and it was like 100 rands or 150, I don't know, something like that. And it just so happened that we didn't have any cash on. It just so happened, of course, that these guys don't accept credit cards or anything like that, right? And so after some haggling, we actually agreed that I would, and they don't know what Bitcoin is or anything like that, but a phone top up they understand, right? And so I actually paid for my phone top up painting with a phone top up.
Dude, that's
You know,
genius. I love
let,
that.
let,
That's
let me see if I can see my thing I can show to the audience.
Yo, got it. Yeah, go see if you can grab it. I
Yes.
actually have a little knife right here, audience. This knife right here, I actually bought on the beach in the Bahamas. So this is whittled out of one piece of, I think, wood, some.
Yes,
And
it was
I
in
bought
in
this
the other room.
with Bitcoin right
Um,
here. I was just telling the
here's the thing.
audience, I did the same. I actually
Uh,
used Bitcoin to buy this from the beach of the Bahamas because I didn't have
Nice.
cash, and the Visa was actually $5 fee per transaction. So I
Right,
convinced them to accept Bitcoin for the knife.
right. So here's my little painting. It's like yeah, it's
Oh wow.
so you see the top of like the yellow one is MTN and the red one is probably Vodafone, I think. Yeah, it's like South African phone carriers, like in the forefront of the picture of the township. I don't know. It's cool. Yeah, we have it.
So basically, the phone carrier is sort of like their bank.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's how the whole mobile money thing happened in Africa, and that is still like the case. That in many of these countries, the phone
You
carrier
know
is
what?
the
You know
bank.
what? Makes me curious though about that, right? Is the fact that the mobile minutes are still purchased with their local currency, so the volatility of the minutes still matches the volatility I would expect of the local currency it's pegged to. So
Sure.
I mean, the
No, it's
volatility.
denominated in local currency, right? It's not counted in minutes anymore.
Oh, not at all. So that's I see. I don't even.
Yeah, you just have a balance, and if it's in South Africa, you have 100 grams on your phone, and that's it
So
takes
they
from
don't
that.
peg the dollars to any local current or the phone minutes to any local currency. The phone minutes are backed by
No, they
like.
are pegged. Pegged. It is the local currency. Like it's
So what I mean is
uh,
one phone minute equals one phone minute.
no, on the contrary. Like one rand on your phone is 1 rand on your phone.
Yeah,
Sort
there you
of,
go.
and then there's prices for things that you can get with the phone, and so on. But like, and this is. I mean, if you want to read about how the mobile money revolution happened in Africa, in Kenya, with probably heard of M-Pesa, which was one of these carriers that noticed that people were using these phone balances as money because it was as good as money, right?
Mm.
And so and they built out these systems and technically they are the same as the phone balance systems, but legally they have to keep it separately, right? So there is something called mobile money, which is you can cash it out for cash, and then there's phone airtime, yeah, which you can't cash out for cash,
We
right?
got we got to
And
wake them up to Bitcoin and bit refills so they could hold Bitcoin and
right.
use Bitcoin to
Well,
top their phones up.
I mean, there people are awake. Like we have customers in I don't know, some 150 something countries in the world. We have people that are using Bitrefill, that are using it because it's, and in those countries, oftentimes like there is no credit card to compete with or discuss privacy benefits or
Facts.
stuff like that. It's like no, either you take your you go to the corner shop with cash, or you take your bike and go to one of these stores, or you're shit out of luck.
Yeah.
So like, and then you have people that are using it just for simply because they can do it online. And we even like have people that are reselling around the offering that service through Bitrefill
Wow.
as a sort of in the neighborhood, so on.
Wow, man. Well, this has been an amazing podcast, interview, fireside chat, whatever you guys want to call it. I've had a great time with you. Why don't you let everybody know a little bit, maybe like an elevator pitch, and we're about Bit Refill. Like, somebody asks, "Hey, what the heck's Bit Refill?" Just give the elevator pitch and let them know where they can find you and find Bit Refill and everything like that.
Sure. So Bitrefill lets you live on crypto, right? Lets you buy anything you need in your life, pay for it with the crypto of your choice. You can find Bitrefill at bitrefill.com, and you can follow us on Twitter at Bitrefill. And me, I'm Sergey. I'm on Twitter at Zigamon, and you can follow me as well. I tweet periodically a lot. So yeah, happy to be in touch. And I guess from vIRL side, like people think that we're this big company or something now, but like we have customers all over the world, and we're always curious to hear about how people are using it, especially in different parts of the world. So shoot us a ping. Don't be shy. Like
Do you have a
we're here.
Discord or a Telegram or any kind of group chat that they can join? Because a lot of the people in the space love to join Discords.
Yeah, I think we have a Telegram, but it's not super active. We have a subreddit as well, Reddit/bitrefill.
Okay, cool,
Other than
cool.
that, I think Twitter is the one where we're the most active. So you can just add us.
All right, and quick shout out. I believe you're partnering up with Monarch Wallet, so we'll be able to use BitRefill right from our Bitcoin wallet and be able to spend and shop right from the wallet. So it's really cool that you're partnering with other wallets as well. I've seen even like Edge and other companies to where you're starting to become ubiquitous to wallets. Like you're featured in other companies' wallets. So congratulations,
Sure.
man. I love seeing that teamwork really is contributing to the dream working. Like just shout out to Edge, shout out to Monarch, shout out to BitRefill, and everybody just teaming up to get the dream accomplished. Everybody, check out bitrefill.com. Get the app on Android or iOS. Check out the application and drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know how your user experience was. If you were to, top up your mobile phone minutes, if you wanted to pay for your Tinder Premium or buy pizza, even Uber Eats, guys. Your Uber code works for Uber Eats. I'm excited that I can now do that. I didn't know, but guys, check it out, bitrefill.com. If you enjoyed the podcast, please pound the thumbs up button. Don't forget to click subscribe and flick the alert bell right next to subscribe, and have a day.
All right. Thank you so much, Ken.
That's it.